IP, Internet Protocol. Internet Protocol address or an IP address is a unique address that computer device recognize itself and to communicate with other device which is connected to the network. Devices connected in the IP network must have a unique IP address within its network. And there are 5 classes of IP address: class A, B, C, D, and E. While A, B, C are the commonly used one. And also it has all the IP address classes has its own range. Let's see that in detail. The class A, B, C, D, E comes under the public classes, the public IP address. The class A is 1 to 126, class B is 128 to 191, and class C is 192 to 223, class D is 224 to 239, class E is 240 to 254. In class A, it supports 16 million hosts, only 16 million hosts on 127 networks. So a high implementation is not possible towards network. So internet access on this network is might be low and the users are more. So this is not flexible. So the class B supports 65,000 hosts and it supports 16,000 networks, but still our internet network users are more. So here the class C IP address is 192 to 223. This is a quite common one that we use in our domestic because it supports 254 hosts on 2 million networks, which means it can be subcategorized. This IP address can be made a subcategorized known as subnet mask. Using this subnet mask, it divides an IP address into network address and host address, which means a private IP address also can be included in the class C IP address. Let us see that in our future slide. And you can see here that 1 to 126 and 128 to 191. There is 127 missing. That 127 is the loopback address. It's a self-ping address in order to check whether the network is working or the network is functioning proper or not. It is a self-replication or to check whether the network card or if there is some issues in your network. Class D IP address. Its range is 224 to 239. It is reserved for multicasting group only, or in order to broadcast an information, this IP address is reserved. So this cannot be allocated for our domestic purpose or some companies or corporate purpose. This can be used only for multicasting. And class E is 240 to 254. This is especially used for research and development purpose, and sometimes used by armies, militaries, etc. So this is all about public classes. Now let's see private IP address and their classes. Private IP address. Private IP address maintains a uniqueness within a global namespace. The IP address are publicly reserved with NIC to provide an address conflicts. So here this private address is like set for example you have a private company with 100 computers connected to a network. It is not necessary that you need to have a public IP address to give an IP to all your computers. Because in private IP address with these classes you see here, the class A starts from 10 to 255, and here it's 172.0 to 172.255, and class C 192.168, it starts from 0 to 192.168.255. So these are the ranges of private IP address. So in order to have a communication between your computers of 100 computers, you can assign a private IP address for data sharing or for the purpose of communication. But if you needed to include a public IP address, you can make use of an internet access. So I was saying in the previous slide that Class C IP address is reserved for domestic. So this private IP address can be made use, or it can be attached with the public IP address, so that within this class also internet can be accessed. These devices do not, here it has been mentioned like devices do not require a public access, maybe access of private IP address, and makes a unique like an identification within one organization. That's what means like a private IP address. It is not mandatory that it should be under a public IP address. This private can be without a public for an organization, but if require an internet access, you might need a public IP address to join with a private, that it is in the class C. Apipa. We know that the DHCP, the Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol in the server, is the one which gives IP address to all the computers within the network or all the devices within the network. If the server fails to give an IP address, and in order to communicate with that device or with that computer, it assigns an IP address, that's an automatic private IP address that has a range of 169.254.0.1 to 169 to 254.255.254, and it does also have a subnet mask of 255.255.0.0. So this is like a self-configured IP address assigned to the device or a computer if the DHCP fails, if the dynamic host configuration fails.